afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the last one of these for this afternoon. So this session cuts through where AI is genuinely improving operations versus adding noise, and why brands without strong foundations in data, inventory, fulfilment, and pricing control end up with revenue that looks good but performs poorly. So everyone, please welcome Jethro Marks, CEO at Nile Group, and his panel to the stage. You're already here.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to those who were here earlier. We're going to cover all sorts of things about Marketplace. We're going to start off very positively this time, and we're going to say what an amazing thing Marketplaces are, and then we'll go from there. But first, introductions. So who are you, and what does your business do?
My name is Chris Dobson. I'm the founder and CEO of Next 3PL. We're a 3PL in the e-commerce space and have been for 17 years, and we look after a whole range of retailers across B2C, B2B, marketplace, and a whole range.
Hi guys, I'm Kido. Thank you very much for being here. I run a wholesale pre-owned clothing B2B network. It's a closed buyer network. So what I like to do is essentially move tons of pre-owned clothing, but through text message. I've been selling on eBay for about 8 years now. I have 11,000 feedback solo. And I've just gone really deep into import, export. So I do business with Thailand, Malaysia. I'm currently learning Spanish because I'm about to go to Mexico City. So yeah, I'm in all sorts of things, and I just love business, and I love the game of business.
I'm Doron. I'm a co-founder of a company called KG Group. We are all about marketplaces. We sell pretty much on all of them. We're doing that since 2008. That's what we specialized. We have over 100,000 products in all categories. We work with over 400 suppliers in Australia. And last year we launched a new business called Channel Wiz. We actually help clients, suppliers, brands, whoever, to integrate to marketplaces. I'm very proud to say that we reached our 1-year milestone, and we have over 100 clients already.
Thank you. And so my introduction, I'm Jethro. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of the Nile Group. We're one of the earliest online retailers in Australia, and we are currently building the world's most trusted bookstores. All right, so the topic is about marketplace growth, which is a great topic. So let's start with Doron. How are you growing? Where are you growing? How are you managing the growth?
I heard the conversation before. We build an amazing business for marketplaces. We love marketplaces. Marketplaces are growing. If you look at the stats, 30 to 40% of sales are done for marketplaces. If you're not on it, it's actually quite stupid. You just get free. I call it free marketing, and you just need to be on it. Do you want me to keep on going?
Yeah, keep going.
We have obviously with since COVID, what happened? Obviously, we had the Catch going live on 2017. Before that, it was eBay. Then Catch opened, and Amazon came. Kogan opened their doors as well, and then everybody came. We had Bunnings, Woolworths, Big W, same. Baby Bunting, JB. Kmart recently opened, and I can tell you what it did for us as a KG business. It's just, we did invested back in 2007 $5,500, and we are still private, and we are bigger than $50 million company. So you should definitely look at marketplaces.
Kido, your experience on the marketplaces?
So I think I'm definitely biased just because of how I started. So I'm in pre-owned clothing, I'm in vintage clothing, and when I first started, I was sourcing from op shops one by one. I was raised by a single mother, only child. I watched my mother work too hard for too long for little pay. So I really had to start with the little I had and trust in the fact that if I could be a good custodian of the resources that I had given to me, even if it was a little bit, that if I looked after that, I could then expand that, reinvest in the business, and slowly scale. And so I started off, individual customers, one-to-one, one order, 5 orders, 10 orders, until the point now where, I can get 1,000 kilos worth of clothing in and have it move by the end of the week. In terms of the marketplaces themselves, like as I mentioned before, I've got 11,000 feedback solo on eBay. I just found that to be a major advantage to really use the resources and really single down on one platform for me and then look at other platforms. So for me, that was eBay at the time. And what I did in that case was I just wanted to learn from the best of eBay sellers. I wanted to really dial in on depth, not width. I think a big mistake that retailers and businesses do in general is they spread themselves too thin too early. They put their resources here, there, and everywhere. And it's like if you have a cup of water and you pour it out evenly towards all these cups, you're not going to fill a single one. So it's not until you can really dial in, dominate one lane, that then it's then worth expanding that way.
Yeah, that's such a good point there. And I think as you start to grow and you do more, I mean, obviously, it's very difficult to manage the growth if you're across multiple places and your operations are a little bit aren't as tight as they could be. So, I guess, Chris, starting with you, from an operational perspective, you run a 3PL. I'm guessing a bunch of your clients must sell on marketplaces. Why do they choose a 3PL instead of doing it themselves, and how does that help with the growth?
Yeah, so we've been around in the retail space, e-commerce space now for 17 years. We've seen a lot of evolution over that time. When I first started the business, it was pre-e-commerce. We were supporting eBay sellers. And an eBay seller trying to find a partner, a 3PL, back in 2007 was impossible. eBay became e-commerce, and e-commerce became different channels, B2B, wholesale, marketplace, and beyond. Today now, anybody in this e-commerce space is selling across multiple platforms, multiple channels, and the logistics of the whole thing becomes incredibly complicated. It could be the growth, it could be the volumes, it could be the different requirements, it could be the speed of the shipping, the turnaround, the packaging requirements. There's just so much complexity. And I think what we try to do is we're not here to sell anything. We're just here to help our customers and our retailers sell more by taking away one of those headaches. And then what we also want to try and do is make it as low cost or cost efficient as possible. So we're helping with margin through cost reduction as opposed to the front end where the selling is actually happening.
That's great. Doron, how are you? You've got a different approach. You run your own warehousing. What's your approach to the operations? And I guess what technology are you using to support that?
So we launched ChannelWiz last year. We've been working on that for the last 4 years. We are super operational. But what we're offering on ChannelWiz, back to what you said, I have to disagree with you. What we offer is basically a full managed service. So what we do at ChannelWiz, we provide a platform, we provide you the tech, we will hustle you on the marketplaces. We basically bring all our 18, 19 years of experience on marketplaces, and we are sharing all the information. So I said, spread yourself, but we ChannelWiz, because we do it all for you. What was the question, sorry?
How are you handling the operations? So you run your own warehousing, and then what technology are you using?
So we use ChannelWiz, but we use also a company called .wms. .wms, we found them randomly in 2018, and it's actually really helped us to scale our business. I love talking about them. They're not as expensive. They're super dynamic. We actually, super interesting between Gannon and myself. We love logistics. We really love logistics. I'm doing logistics since I was 18 years old. We really into tech, and I'm a trader in my soul. I love buying, selling products. It's something that I just do. So we live and breathe operation, and we love sharing the data with our clients. That's something that makes me really happy.
Cool. So staying with tech, but switching directions into AI, because every conference has to have a bit of AI discussion. Kido, starting with you, like in a marketplace environment, how are you finding the use of AI effective or ineffective? What's working, what isn't working?
I think to kind of zoom out on how people are currently using AI, I think there was a lot of hype around prompt engineering. But I think the way that you get ahead and you use AI even more efficiently is the context engineering. So what is the information you actually feed AI to begin with before you even ask any questions, before you even ask it to do anything? Because when it comes to the marketplaces, I mean, for me, I'm sourcing unique SKUs. I'm one-off SKUs. So I don't have the option with my business, because it is pre-owned, to say, okay, we're fully sold out, let me return the quantity to 1,000. I don't have that option. I have a rare vintage Nirvana original t-shirt that you can't replace. I might sell that for $1,000, but I can't put the quantity of that to 100 because it's a collectible. And so I guess the way that I use AI specifically within my business when it comes to marketplaces is essentially looking at search terms, having AI scrape search terms, having AI analyze a lot of what's actually being searched for on TikTok. A good thing about using eBay is being able to anticipate the search intent. So I'll use a lot of that data to say, okay, I'm seeing a lot of people in these categories searching for this. I match that search intent to then when I go and make my buying decisions. And that is across, TikTok, it's across eBay, it's across all social media. I'm looking in Instagram comments a lot. I'm pulling all that data together and then having AI analyze, okay, what are the commonalities here? What's popping up way more than everything else? So I'm looking at the frequency. And that has been a huge advantage in just sourcing and being able to source better.
Wow. Doron, are you guys using any AI?
We're using a lot of AI. So we're using that from product creation, to images, to so something to understand. On marketplaces, each marketplaces have a different way of that you can list products. So we definitely expanded our AI with that, and slowly we bring into our operation a bit of ways of improve the admin, improve the buying. It's really exciting. I think also I think also very important is to bring the AI to your team. Let the team play with the AI. If you have a sales team, connect your AI to your sales team. Get them their own data. I think it's something that I think you can save a lot of money. We actually built a scrape recently. Ganon, my business partner, he's not a programmer. He built a scrape tool that something that took us ages to do. We do it very quickly in seconds.
That's price scraping, or what are you using it for?
Pardon?
Is it price scraping, or what do you?
We scrape if we need to scrape website, check data. If we need to, I don't know, source something. It's just yeah.
Chris, is there an application in your business for it?
We're a very people-orientated business. We've got up to 250 staff working in the warehouses at any point. As soon as AI can pick and pack orders, great. Until then, it's support functions for our business, really. How can we do things more efficiently? We do software development in-house, so the AI applications are coming into the software, the customer service functions, potentially the sales functions, content generation, but we're just really starting to learn how it can apply. But at the same time, the core of our business is that flexibility, that people approach, which is a long way from where we're at today with the true application of AI.
Kido, on your Kido, on your sourcing, I mean, do you actually are you detecting trends outside of your space? Have you ever had any kind of inclination to want to get into other things because you just detect, hey, there's massive demand for X, Y, Z, or this widget, or whatever it is through the data that you're collecting?
Absolutely. So my background on eBay was actually I would sell video games. I learned about vacuum cleaner bags because there was a whole bunch of old vacuum cleaners you can't get the bags for anymore. So I would just basically source those on repeat. Whenever I'd see them, I'll just grab them, and that would be, turning $1 into 20, and I would never complain about that margin, right? So in terms of the shiny thing syndrome, the ability to look at all the good opportunities that we have, I keep returning to, I think I've matured a lot more in business in that, okay, there's opportunities here, there, and everywhere. I'm heavy into AI. I'm heavy into building my own internal tools. Like what I'll do is if I'm using a software and I'm paying a little bit too much that I don't want to be paying, I'll go look at the back end. I'll look at everybody's problems with it on Reddit, and I'll just rebuild the tool completely and then use it. And often by doing that way, and I think it's underrated way of approaching AI in general, is looking at tools you're already using all the time that cost you too much, going in and actually working out what it's doing and what parts of that software do you actually not need that they've included and you're being charged for. Because if you can just build like a bare bones utility, give that to your team, like you're going to absolutely crush. So yeah, I see a lot of opportunities and I say no a lot these days. And everybody, I think there's this quote where it's like, everybody wants simplicity, but nobody wants to be simple. I think I've reached the point where I'm perfectly okay being simple and living a beautiful life.
That's great. Doron, you guys have got a very wide range of assortment of products in your KG business. What's been the approach for sourcing for you, and how are you using technology to help that?
We sourcing locally. Like I said, we deal with over 400 suppliers locally. I have my amazing head of buying here, Nat. I don't know. I think we don't really use AI for that. I think we are traders in our soul. It's very easy for us to buy. It's very easy for us to make a decision. It's something that that's what we do. There's many stories of how we scaled our business. I can share with you a lot of them, but this is we live and breathe that. Easy.
Okay, well, on that topic, what has been the latest thing that's really driven growth for you?
Product-wise?
Not necessarily product-wise, just in general. Like, what's worked?
I love all of my marketplaces. I have to be honest. After Catch closed last year, I think Kmart is our latest growth, as you probably know yourself. Yeah, I think that was for us the latest highlight. With as much as we love all the marketplaces, yeah, that's the one.
Do you reckon it's working because it's a very good marketplace, or is it just because it's brand new and there's not that much competition?
No, I think like our friends here in Bunnings and Kogan and Woolworths and eBay, of course. They have the traffic. I heard the conversation before. It was actually quite stupid. Sorry. If you're not on marketplaces and they have most of the traffic, you don't pay for the traffic. Why you're not there? I'm very, passionate about it. That's what gives you the easy growth. You don't need to worry about marketing. You don't need to worry about spending money on SEO. And forgive me, all the agencies here. That's what you need to do.
All right, so one of the things I'm seeing at the moment is a lot of the marketplace algorithms are favoring speed to market, speed for delivery. I think more so than before. So how are you guys thinking about that, both within your KG business and also for ChannelWiz? Like how are you advising your customers?
So at the KG business, we dispatch everything next day. We are pitching to the marketplaces to have the option of same day, next day delivery. We're trying our best for many years. They will get it one day, so hopefully they will implement that. For our clients in ChannelWiz, so we're not just a platform. We advising them about everything. Once you're in the ChannelWiz family, I call it, all clients have mine and Ganon, my business partner, have our mobile numbers. I'm always available. We're advising them if they want to listen, how to sell. If it's pack, if it's not packs, if it's combo products that we create everything on ChannelWiz. But we also advise them of if they need any help with warehousing, operational. We love it. As like I said, because we love it, we love also to offer that. That's what makes them. That will make them more successful. That will make them sell more. And basically, they sell more, we make more money, so it works for everyone.
Chris, with your customer base, I guess, how are you guys approaching the need for speed? And are you seeing a mix in the shift of how people are actually shipping and delivery standards?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a mixture. Same-day shipping actually peaked probably about 6-7 years ago. There was the in thing at one of the events where everyone was talking about it, but then it kind of fizzled away again. And it went back to life as normal, where speedy dispatch is good enough. The introduction of the marketplaces is putting more pressure on that, because the marketplaces themselves are setting their own standards. So a traditional e-commerce brand may be happy with same-day dispatch, next-day dispatch, express or priority deliveries, but a marketplace comes along and is strict. Like, every order up to 2 or 3 p.m. will leave today, and if it doesn't leave today, here is a fine. And that puts a lot of pressure on our customers, and that flows through to us. And it's evolving. It changes quite quickly. And as customers introduce those different things, we've got to kind of adapt to the volumes. So there's a lot of complexity there. We have to understand what's being asked of us and how do we fit that into a very multi-customer environment. We have 130 retailers in 2 buildings with diverse requirements. So it is challenging, and I think that's what puts a lot of pressure on certainly small and medium-sized brands. Logistics just becomes very, very complicated and easily very, very expensive. And I think that's where we add a lot of value.
All right, any questions from the audience? Anybody got anything they'd like to ask?
Just one question, guys. Any questions? Oh, hey, Shanta.
This is specifically for Kido, but anyone can answer. When it comes to marketplaces, as someone who doesn't know anything about marketplaces until right now, what would be like the one bit of advice that you would give for somebody so that they don't make a mistake with profitability?
So when you start out how I did, which is no capital, no venture capital, my mum is in my corner, you have to be profitable day one. I think there's a lot of businesses and retailers that, push that profitability out to 3 months, 6 months. And I think there's a large benefit in placing a small bet, a small experiment, so you can actually test the viability before you go and make a 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure commitment and rack up that technical debt like it's nothing. So for joining a new marketplace, I would say experiment and don't go all in until you know it works.
I say you go all in, just find the right partner.
All right, so a few things on that. First up, the marketplaces, the beauty of the marketplaces is that the costs are entirely transparent. It's unlike any other channel where, if it's Google or if it's Meta or if it's whatever, you basically are paying a variable amount with a variable outcome, which over a prolonged period of time, you can eventually get some sense of what the costing should look like. But in the marketplace, it's all fixed up front. You know exactly what you're going to be paying. So whether it's 5, 10, 20%, whatever it is, whatever the structure is, you know before you go in. The benefit of that is that you can, if you manage your margins correctly, you're managing your pricing correctly, you can build that into your pricing on day one so that you never lose money on a transaction. In other words, there's no presumption that it may or may not be at a certain number. It is what it is. So if the cost base is $1, then just build that dollar into your margins and then into your pricing, and then you know for sure that you're not going to lose on that. So even like we run a dynamic pricing model where we can do millions of price updates per day, but it's always within the confines of having the cost structure built into the minimum price that we ever sell for. So it enables you the freedom to be able to just price whatever you want, knowing that you're never going to lose money on that transaction. That's the first point. The second thing is to make sure that you are entirely cognizant of all the hidden costs that come with trading online. So that is your shipping cost, your handling cost, as in your internal handling cost of packaging the goods and labor and whatever else, any manual processes that require human beings to get involved, And then the one that probably gets overlooked the most is the returns and replacements. You know, when an item gets missed, arrives damaged, doesn't arrive, whatever it is, you've got to build that in. All those costs need to be incorporated. And so the last one is also the customer service, or after order care, and the amount of work that your team needs to do to go into it. So you kind of need to make sure that you're really across all that math. And as long as you are, you can bake it all in. And that's where the beauty of this comes in, because then you can just experiment at will as to what different price points could look like, what products are going to work, what they aren't, and you just get to experiment. So whether you do it on a single marketplace with a small number of SKUs, or whether you do it at mass over a large number of marketplaces, as long as it's built within the confines of what I've described, you really can't lose. The worst that can happen is you get something wrong, but if you don't, then it's really just a case of seeing what the data then tells you and then doubling down in those areas of success.
But also you can keep on saving money. So as you grow in general in business, you know, your cost will come down if you can negotiate. If you can always go to the marketplaces and negotiate with them as well. There's a way to make it cheaper as an expense. But I agree with you. There is plenty of hidden costs and charges, and you really have to be smart about it. We definitely help that to our clients as well. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's a big one.
And this, I think, is also interesting when it comes to the application of AI and new tech, because here you can look at all those costs we just mentioned, and there's a bunch of them that you can actually start to automate away or augment in a way that reduces that. And I think then pass on that cost saving to your customer to some extent, or capture the margin yourself and end up with a more profitable outcome. My biggest piece of advice is just automate in any way, shape, or form you can, because invariably, in Kido's model is a little bit different because it's highly bespoke to a small set of SKUs where there's probably a reasonable amount of margin. What I do and what Doron does, there's very little margin, and so you have to be as efficient as you possibly can be. And automating it from end to end as best as you possibly can is the best way to eradicate that cost and also to produce the most consistent outcomes, which then ultimately lead to the least amount of exceptions. And exceptions are by far the most expensive thing that can happen. An item doesn't get in where it has to go to. It wasn't, the data was wrong on the upfront and you didn't describe it or picture it correctly. Whatever it is, those costs are what really kind of create 80% of your pain, and ultimately is where you lose the most amount of money. Chris, any thoughts on?
Yeah, so I think just the visibility of costs as well. So there are those hidden costs, but especially when you're running your own operations, perhaps, do you have a true handle on what everything is costing? Whether it be the labor, the facilities, but when we're talking to customers, they often overlook hidden costs, insurances, waste costs, things that you just pay for that could be removed. And then the freight as well, aggregating the freight either by having mass buying power yourself or partnering up with someone like a 3PL where we've got volume buy rates and we can pass those freight savings on. Quite often the freight and the freight saving can outweigh the entire cost of the warehouse operation. So it's a low-hanging fruit to increase the margin or at least reduce the cost once you've got that sale from the marketplace.
Do we have any other questions?
Within your own website, one can build greater value within the cart and upsell the customer to build more in the sale. And then obviously you get a lot of efficiencies with the freight and the pick and pack and everything. Within the marketplaces, it's very hard to build additional sales within your cart other than packaging. And if you've got a very wide range of SKUs, it's impossible to really encourage it. How does one go about doing that within the marketplaces, other than building set parcels?
So I can definitely jump in on this. So I managed 1.8 thousand unique SKUs. Now I'm managing 6,000. the biggest way to create that repeat business, especially on the marketplaces, is understanding that sometimes, and this is actually something I learned from Jethro, is that maybe you don't want to move them off the marketplace. Maybe you're capitalizing on the traffic that's already going to that pre-existing marketplace, and now they are a subset of your customer base. So for example, for me, I might have my Shopify website customer base, I might have my wholesale, which all have my personal phone number, and then I might have my eBay customer base, which might be, 3,000, 5,000, 7,000 a year. So personally for me, I treat them separately as separate customer bases. And to go back to, the idea of upselling, it is difficult in that for me, the way I was able to access scale was stocking a lot of similar like items. Because I am in one-off unique SKUs, sometimes the biggest advantage is having 10 of the same men's brand shirt and then doing multi-buys. Sometimes somebody will come in and buy 2 or 3 items to begin with, and then I've had customers come back and buy 100 a couple of years later because I've already built that trust. Not only do they first find me through the marketplace trust, but then they say, okay, Kido's good, I can do business with him in the future.
Within the same transaction I'm talking about, within the same transaction that a customer goes
So,
and buys it on your
yeah, so
that
for me,
purchase.
with pre-owned clothing specifically, I've found it is different from brand new. But yeah, so for me, it's been ongoing transactions, and those are what I want anyway.
Cool.
Me? I actually didn't hear the question.
So the tools, there are some tools there that allow you to try and encourage it. Not in the way you're describing, as in like you can't, the marketplace itself might throw recommendations into the cart, but you can do things like, buy 2, get a 5% discount, buy 3, get a whatever, volume deals, that sort of thing. So there are some tools that are available which will enable you to be able to do what you're describing, which is build a cart. I am finding more and more of our marketplace orders are now coming in with multi-lines, whereas once upon a time it was 1. It's now like 1 point something, but it's much closer to 2, whereas so the behavior is shifting, which I think is something that the marketplace is actively trying to encourage, certainly the bigger ones. But I think to Kido's point, I wouldn't treat this exactly like your own store. I don't even think you need to worry about it that way. It's just think of it as it's a different channel with a different set of characteristics and a different customer. And just because you can't do one thing doesn't mean it's a bad thing or necessarily that there aren't other things that you can do. There are ways you can tweak it. It will just produce a slightly different outcome to what you're getting on your website.
Just to put another thing, what we found that once you're on marketplaces, you will get more traffic on your website. Once you're putting your products on there, your name is there, you automatically get natural traffic more. We had a few clients that increased by 10 times traffic to the website. Just had to say that on a side note.
Any other questions? There we go.
Yeah, thanks, guys. International new marketplaces, for lack of a better term, how would you guys approach pushing your model into a new market? Do you think you have to set the domestic one first and then copy paste, say, into America, Asia, or are you better off, being bespoke?
Okay, so a couple of different thoughts on this. I'm a very big proponent of using the marketplaces to commence your international journey. I think it's a very low-risk, low-cost way of doing it. The way I would do it is to basically just tick the box that says I'm going to ship to country X, Y, or Z, whichever one you want to pick, and then make sure that you've got the ability to be able to fulfill that order. And I'm also very proponent of test and learn. So I think the way I would view this is start off by doing that through your domestic account. So let's just take eBay as an example because it's very user-friendly when it comes to international. You might say, I'm going to enable shipping to the US and then start to attract orders from the US. If that works for you, then what I would then look to do is then open marketplace accounts in the country of the destination country. The benefit of doing that is that you then present as a local seller rather than as an Australian. So at the moment, to just pick an example, you might have a product which you ship domestically for $10, but it might be $28 to ship to the States. That is a deterrent. Whereas if you were to present it in USD with like no shipping charge or some very limited amount, you would get better conversion. So I think the way to do it is start domestic through your domestic accounts, test and learn, find a market that's starting to resonate, then open up an account in that country and present yourself as a domestic seller. The learning I've had is that no matter where I am in the world, Australians like to buy from Australians first, US like to buy from Americans first. It just seems to be the rule, the way things have always been. It's not that they won't buy from you as an Australian, but you will just have a higher conversion rate in that scenario. And then you then can start proceeding down the journey of looking at like how do you build out your logistics for that country? Do you export? Do you 3PL in that country? In our case, we've got to the point of actually opening up our own warehouses. And your range of options becomes a lot more, you can become a lot more localized, and then you can build it out a lot more.
Yeah, so if I can jump in there. With the vintage market specifically, there are certain T-shirts, certain collectibles that I can't find a customer here for $1,000. So I will go to Thailand, I will go to the Japanese market. I'm half Japanese. So I will go and physically take the goods, take a suitcase, and it might be like, you know, $20,000, $30,000 tees in a small suitcase, and I'll sell directly to the buyers there. I think there is going to be no substitute for entering the international market that is any better than going yourself and actually seeing for yourself everything. I think the barrier of entry to going into the market yourself and seeing what things are priced at, seeing how the market behaves, seeing how, okay, actually I was planning to go and sell this product there, but actually now looking this other product in my catalog would work better. Like I literally have a YouTube video of me going to Malaysia, going to Thailand, and going around the local markets and looking at these collectors, having conversations in Thai to ask them, hey, like, why are you guys pricing this 3-4x? For them to then tell me, well, we have Japanese buyers that fly in, and so we can get those prices. Because I think you need to have an overview of everything before you try and like, okay, let me try and sell international to a market I don't understand, people I don't speak the same language as, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're wanting to go for the US, for example, definitely go there, check it out yourself, for sure, 100%.
So guys, we've got a few minutes left. Closing remarks. Doron, with your last piece of wisdom for the crowd.
I think if you want to explore more marketplaces or you own marketplaces, and you're not happy or you're happy, we have a booth here called Channel Wiz behind the podium. Come and see me and the team. We'll make sure you make more money.
Kido?
I love Pareto's law, which is like 80% of your results coming from 20% of what you're doing. And so if you can just look at what is currently working and do more of that, you're going to have a fun time, you're going to have a great time, and the next year is going to be the best for you.
This year, Christmas.
I think for me, the marketplace and margin in particular comes from costs as much as it comes from what it's being sold for. So be super aware of your costs. Look for opportunities to reduce costs. Those cost reduction opportunities can increase margin significantly or stop a loss. So the international point, be super aware where you're selling to. Don't sell to the whole world. Just start somewhere, but just stay on top of your costs.
Great. Can you all join me in thanking this crowd?
Thanks, Jethro. Appreciate you.